G'day and welcome to Redriven. Now we all know that person that like when they were a teenager in high school, they were a bit awkward looking, potentially ugly and a bit odd and strange. And then you see them a few years later and they've blossomed into this super charismatic, almost supermodel looking person. That's kind of like the Honda HR-V. See, the early version of the HR-V, the original HR-V, let's be honest, was a little bit odd looking and a bit strange, but then it matured into this. But is all that just smoke and mirrors or a good haircut and some makeup? Because like, look, when these are new, they're excellent, but when they're used, are they any good? Like that ugly teenager that's blossomed into a really good looking adult, is this thing just hiding some demons that are bubbling underneath, waiting to explode in a fit of rage? Like what goes wrong with these? What do they like to live with on a daily basis? What do they cost to own and operate? And most importantly, should you buy one? Let's find out. Now before we get deep into the Honda HR-V, I should mention that in this video we're going to be focusing on the Australian variants of the second generation HR-V. But if you're not from Australia, don't fret or panic or anything like that, because everything we're going to be going over should relate to HR-Vs in your local market. Also, to keep this video as objective as we possibly could, we've reached out to multiple Honda owners groups, HR-V owners, Honda specialist mechanics. We've trawled through what feels like hours of different customer satisfaction surveys and reliability reports. So this video is basically the culmination of all of that information. Now this generation HR-V entered production in 2014, but we didn't receive them here in Australia until 2015. And when they landed, we received them in primarily 3 different trim levels, but all with the same engine. But for a bit more of an overview of the HR-V range, here's me doing a voiceover over some montage of B-roll. The HR-V initially landed in base spec VTI, mid-spec VTI SN, top spec VTI L variants, with an RS, a VTI LX and a smattering of special editions joining the range later in its life cycle. No matter what the spec, all HR-Vs here in Australia are powered by a 1.8 litre naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine, mated to a CVT transmission powering the front wheels. The HR-V was refreshed in 2018 for the 2019 year model, receiving an increase in tech and safety equipment on offer, as well as some minor visual tweaks. Now guys, while we'd love to go into every specific detail of every upgrade and variant in this video, we can't because it would just take hours and hours. But the thing is, we have grabbed all that information and we've put it in our incredibly handy and free Redriven cheat sheets. Our cheat sheets are invaluable as they provide a full breakdown of the car's model range, its common problems, what you need to look out for before handing over your hard-earned cash, how much of that cash you should be handing over, and so much more. Check it out at redriven.com or in the link below. Now guys, if you already own a HR-V or you're like a HR-V expert and you've noticed in this video that we've missed something major, can you please let us know in the comments? Obviously we're going to do our best to cover as much as we can about the HR-V, but yeah, if we've missed something major, please let us know. Okay, so does it look good? For me personally, yeah, I think so. But more importantly, what do you think? Let us know in the comments. Do you like the look of the HR-V? Let us know. I must say, but the higher spec models with the larger alloy wheels, I think nail it for the looks. It's amazing how like a good set of boots can absolutely make or break a car. Like, you know, with the smaller wheels, it's not ugly by any means, but slightly bigger wheels, yeah, it looks good. One design feature I absolutely love is how Honda have integrated the handle into the window design here. I think that is genius. It's kind of fooling you into thinking it's a 2-door car when it is actually a 4-door car, being all very sensible and clever. Here's a trivia question. I actually don't know the answer to this. What was the first car that did this, like integrated the handle into the design work here? Let us know in the comments. I'd like to know. Okay, a few things to watch out for if you are in the market for a HR-V. The HR-V is very, very popular with P-platers, and the thing about P-platers is that they think they're excellent drivers when in reality they're really, really shit drivers. And the other thing about P-platers is that they're generally obsessed with their fabulous social lives, which are all kind of held within their phone, meaning that they look at their phone more than they look at the road when they're driving, which then relates to them or equates to them running into things with the front of their car. So if you are in the market for one of these, make sure you check the front for any signs of accident damage. Now to find accident damage, it's really, really easy. Look at all the panel gaps around the car. Look at all these sections through here. Do they all match in distance? Look at the paint between all the panels. Does it match in color and texture? Get under here, like under the wheel arches, and also around the front here. Look for any signs of like spray paint overspray, and also pop the bonnet and look for any signs of spray paint overspray under there as well. If you see spray paint overspray or any mismatched panel gaps or any mismatched colored paint, don't buy that car. Actually, I should mention some of the higher spec HRVs do come with some sort of autonomous emergency braking technology. We'll get into the safety stuff in a second, but it's more the lower spec models that don't have any kind of AEB at all. So yeah, on lower spec ones, make sure you check for accident damage or dodgy repair work. Now for common faults and common problems with the HRV, we'll get to those in a second. So how's the interior? Well, look, from a design aspect, it's still really good. Like this is technically still a current car, and you can tell design-wise, it's nice. Also, speaking of design elements, and this is maybe a positive, maybe a negative, depends on you, this is clearly not kind of an integrated head unit or infotainment system into the HRV. It looks like something that's aftermarket. The positive of that will potentially come later, but from a negative aspect, yeah, it just looks a bit stuck in there. As far as the ergonomics go, they're good to a degree. There's some stuff with the tech, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But the seats, there are heaps of reports that the seats are really uncomfortable. Personally, I find these pretty comfortable. The owner of these finds these pretty comfortable, but online, yeah, lots of reports that people just can't get in a comfy position. Speaking of uncomfortable seats, that was also something that plagued the Honda Jazz /Fit. The video is up there in that link. I don't know why Honda can't just fit the seats that are in the Civic Type R, because they're fantastic. Honda, just put Civic Type R seats in everything. Now, as far as wear and tear goes, it's not too bad. This is this person's daily driver of a car. It's got a bit over 40,000 Ks on it. And you can kind of tell, like, that's squeaking just a little bit and has kind of come a little bit loose. Again, manufacturers with glossy black piano plastic, it always scratches up on this car. It's a bit scratched around here. There's, you know, a bit of wear and tear. It would, you know, kind of clean up nicely with the detail, but good amounts of squidge. Nice squidge everywhere. That's nice, but yeah, you can tell it's been used. But one point, because everything in here is black or different shades of black, it just collects dust instantly. Like everything, even when you clean it, like we've given it a bit of a going over, but yeah, it still just collects dust everywhere. It kind of perpetually looks a little bit dirty and gross. Okay, in the back seat, I'm exactly 6.836 Trivial Pursuits tall. This is in my driving position, and I can't get over the amount of space back here. Like this is, I'm not going to say palatial, but for such a small car to have this much legroom and just this much space and comfort is incredible. Even the fact that this car has a sunroof, and with a sunroof, normally that kind of impairs in your headspace because this is quite thick versus a non-sunroof car. But you know, I'm kind of tall, but I've got like no restriction on headspace back here. Absolutely fantastic. Oh, also these seats recline and change so you can get even more comfortable. Now, as far as wear and tear goes, really good back here. It feels, okay, it doesn't feel like a new car, but it still feels really good. The leather still feels great, or the door cards feel great. Excellent. So how's the tech? Well, the tech is going to vary depending on which trim model you're looking at and if it's a pre or post facelift car. But for an overview of what tech to expect, here's me doing a voiceover. The minimum amount of tech that you can expect will include 12-volt power outlets, a 6-speaker stereo, a 7-inch multifunction screen, satellite navigation, which can be a nightmare to use, Bluetooth connectivity, a rear vision camera, hill holder, and climate control. But more recent and higher spec HRVs can include smart key entry with push button start, LED auto headlights with LED daytime running lights, rain sensing auto wipers, and Honda's clever camera based lane watch system, which shows the image of your blind spot on the central screen. Now, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto didn't make an appearance in these things until 2020, which is annoying. Another annoying thing is, again, I know I'm always on about this in our videos, but no buttons. Like when you're driving, to try to operate this touchscreen, it's not user-friendly at all. Even up here, like, yeah, obviously you need a touchscreen for Apple CarPlay, but there's nowhere to rest your hand, so it's just hard to navigate when you're driving. Also, from a design aspect, this looks like an aftermarket head unit, and maybe that's good because you know if you don't have an Apple CarPlay or Android Auto HRV, you can upgrade to one that has those things later on, which is good. But again, bloody touchscreens, just give us some buttons. Now, for all of the details of which HRV gets what tech, make sure you jump on redriven.com and check out that cheat sheet, or click on the link in the description. So, is it practical? Bloody oath it's practical. This is actually one of the things that the HRV is famous for, is its immense practicality. Even with the back seats up, there is still heaps and heaps of space back here, but with the magic seats down, these things fold completely flat. You can almost lay diagonally back here and go camping. Okay, practicality in the back seat. You've got 2 spots for your redriven Honda HR-V script just here. You've got a spot for a water bottle down here, which I need to mention, you can actually access it when the door is shut. So many of these water bottles in cars this size, yes, there's a spot for a bottle, but you can't ever actually access it. There's another spot here, which is less convincing for a water bottle, but it will fit. Plus behind that is a power outlet. You've got a spot for dust and bits of life up here, and you've also got the world's smallest armrest, which is kind of cute, but it still works as an armrest. Good. Then you can lift the bases of the seats up like this and lock them into place, like this. And you have this whole space. I was actually going to bring my bike down and put it here because I know a bike does fit in this spot, but I got lazy and didn't bring it. And practicality up front. You've got a perfect spot for your redriven fancy schmancy water bottle in the doors and a bit of a door pocket there as well. There's a little cubby hole here for your seashell collection. This is awesome. So this is the cup holder section, which is like almost the Swiss Army knife of cup holders, because you can have it like this, or you can have these little separators like that for, 2 normal coffees and a pretentious small coffee in the middle. But then you can also have like tall bottles slide down in there like that. How good is that? Brilliant work. Oh, also there's spots for your phone. So you've got a spot officially for your phone down here, which is pretty cool. But there's also a spot here, not officially for a phone, but it wedges in quite nicely. So if you're cornering hard, it doesn't slide around everywhere. Awesome little spots for the phone here as well. And it has a pretty decent sized glove box. I think that's it for practicality up the front. Yeah, love that. Well done, Honda. Okay, so what goes wrong with these things? Well, look, we'll get to the mechanical stuff in a second. Let's start with the exterior first. Now, there are a few reports that some of the HR-Vs can have some defective paint, like it kind of peels and flakes off, mainly on the bonnet and the roof. It's not a common problem. They're not all going to do it, but they are out there. But it's important to remember that a full proper respray of really any car is going to cost you thousands of dollars. Also, some of the plastic trim around the windows can get a bit of a rough or bubbly effect. Now, there are quite a few reports that these window seals can be defective and allow water to go inside the car, even if the doors are shut and the windows are up. And the thing is, right, water inside the car is never a good thing, unless that water is inside a redriven water bottle. Okay, inside it's pretty good for things that commonly go wrong. Obviously, you've got the complaints about the seats not being very comfortable, and there are a few sporadic reports that the start-stop button can kind of play up, but the good news is that is generally fixed up under warranty. But overall, yeah, there's not many common issues inside the HR-V. Now guys, before we get into mechanically what can go wrong with these cars, I've got to ask a favor. Can you please hit the like, subscribe and bell button and share this video and share Redriven as much as you can. We love making this content. We just want to keep making this content for you guys. And the more that you hit those buttons and support the channel, the more content we can make for you. And that'd be a good thing, I hope. Okay, now mechanically, what goes wrong with these? Well, see, the thing is, I'm not a qualified mechanic, so I can't tell you, but Jim is.
Globally, across the range, there are a few petrol engines. And one thing they have in common is they all have to be serviced regularly, every 10,000 Ks or 12 months at least. Here in Australia, we only got the 1.8 litre non-turbo engine, which in my opinion is the pick of the bunch. It came with a CVT transmission. Having said that, the early versions of this engine in the Honda Civic had a huge recall, but the later model ones in the HR-V, totally fine. The CVT transmissions are actually pretty good, and the only failures I've seen of those is when they've missed services. That's scheduled at 40,000 Ks and it's very important. Yeah, there are some diesel engines out there. They're pretty rare and that's exactly why you should avoid them. We didn't get them in Australia, which is a good thing. Look, overall, these are really reliable as long as they've got a really good service history.
So is it safe? Well, the HR-V received a full 5 stars from ANCAP when they first came out, but for an overview of what safety to expect in the HR-V, here's me doing another voiceover, but this time as fast as I possibly can. Safety features on the HR-V include 6 airbags, anti-lock brakes, autonomous emergency braking, electronic brake force distribution, adaptive cruise control, traction control, electronic stability control, forward collision warning, blind spot monitoring, speed warning alert, and lane keep assist. Now guys, make sure you check the cheat sheets to see what HR-V or which HR-V receives what or which tech, because depending on the model at the specific trim level and also the age of the vehicle, Honda are always upgrading the safety. So yeah, check out the cheat sheets for all the details. So what's it like to drive? Well, it's just really, really nice. The ride quality is so much better than the Mitsubishi ASX that we tested recently. The link for that video is just up there somewhere. This feels far more compliant, it handles better, it's just nicer in every way. Now, power plant wise, look, a bit more torque would be really nice, but that's being super, super picky. But in saying that, it's got plenty enough power for around town and what this car is designed to do. Now, these have a CVT transmission, and like all CVTs, it does that kind of CVT whine thing, but yeah, you get used to it. Now, speaking of noises and sounds, this particular car, there's no creaks, rattles, no weird squeaks. There's a bit of road noise there, but nothing to complain about. It sounds tight, it sounds good. One thing I absolutely love about this, and it's a Honda thing, is the blind spot camera. So you actually get a display of what's in your blind spot. That makes life so much easier in town or in traffic or in metropolitan areas. Excellent. Now, as far as negatives go, there's not many. One thing that is annoying is, especially with the sunroof, the screen can be really hard to see because of the glare, and if it gets any direct sunlight, it's near impossible to see. But besides that, that's about it. Look, overall, for what this car's designed to do, it's pretty much perfect. It's enjoyable to drive. The steering's really nice. It's got a really fast steering rack, and the actual turning circle's great. So again, maneuvering around town or in a car park is super easy. Really easy to judge all the parameters. The rear vision's great. There's no crazy blind spots. From a driving aspect, it's still, after many years and thousands of kilometers, it just does everything right. Pricing here in Australia kicks off from around about $15,000 for like early base models with loads and loads of kilometres on them in interesting condition, and they top out at around about $40,000 for the complete opposite of that. Something like this, a 2019 base spec VTI with a reasonable amount of kilometres in pretty good condition, you're going to be looking anywhere from $25,000 to $30,000. Now, all of this equates to the fact that Hondas and the HR-V specifically do hold their value really well. Like, yeah, look, yes, obviously the used car market is inflated at the moment, but even when it's not inflated like it is now, Hondas do hold their value really well. So yeah, good. And for pricing elsewhere on this massive globe of ours, here's a graphic. Honda claim a fuel consumption figure of anywhere between 6.6 to 6.9 litres per 100 kilometres. This car is claimed at 6.9 litres per 100 Ks, but it's actually seeing 5.8. I think this is the first time in Redriven's history that we've had a car that is doing less than the claimed amount. Well done, Honda. Honda initially offered a 3-year, 100,000 kilometre warranty, which was upgraded to 5 years and unlimited kilometres on July 1st, 2017, I think. That means that some of these HR-Vs still have some factory support left on them. Servicing is recommended at every 12 months or 10,000 Ks, and make sure you keep the servicing up on these because a well-serviced Honda might just last forever. Okay, so should you buy one? Well, look, if you can find a HR-V that has a full and thorough service history, it's in excellent condition and it fits your budget, yes, 100% absolutely you should buy one, because even after many years and thousands of kilometres, these are still great. We've found that HR-Vs have generally been really well cared for, and they're a very low risk purchase, but look, it still pays to be on the lookout for damaged or badly maintained examples. We'd recommend finding the most recent lowest kilometre VTIS you can find, because for us, that is the sweet spot of the range. But really, which of the HR-V variants that you should buy? Look, it's going to depend on you, your needs, and your wants. And with so many Honda HR-Vs in the used car market, don't rush into it. Be patient. Find your perfect car because it will be out there. These are awesome. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and what did you think of the HR-V? Please let us know in those comments below. Oh, remember as well, can you please hit those like, subscribe and bell icon buttons and reshare this video and reshare Redriven as much as you can, because the more you do all that stuff and reshare it, the more of this content we can make for you. See you next time. G'day and welcome to Redriven. Now, we are on a good start. That was a really good start. Okay, here we go. Sweet.
And one thing's for sure, they all have to be serviced regularly. Absolutely. Ah, oh, damn it. Nearly had that. Hang on.
Now, guys, if you are already a HR-V expert or you already own it, here we go. Good.
Yeah, there were some diesel. There were a few reports. Ah, damn it, bus. I heard it coming.
Now, guys, there's a car going past, going to ruin the take.